أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ببركته إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمد كما تحب وترضى بأن تصلي عليه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا آمنت بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الحبيب الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والآمنين والرافقين والحمد لله رب العالمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رحمة للعالمين وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا شفيع المذنبين. Most respected and honorable ulama, in particular His Eminence Imam al-Khatib of the Sabri Chishti Institute, Hazrat Allama Maulana Sayyid Yusuf Damat Barakat al-Aliyah Madadul Ali, most respected and honorable Maulana Abdullah Idris Damat Barakat al-Aliyah Madadul Ali, His honorable and respectable Nakha Par Excellence Qari Irfan Petka, most respected and honorable ulama, mashayikh, Fazi Kiram, our fathers, our brothers, our mothers, our sisters, as always, our contemporary youth, our children in Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala alaykum wa barakatuh. Let me begin as I always do, for it is not customary, nor is it tradition, but it becomes incumbent upon us to offer praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the sadaqah and the benediction and the gloriousness and the manifestation and the effervescence of His most esteemed of divine creation, Taj Bakshe Awliya, Sarkar do Alam, Huzur Kul Nur, Nur Mujassam Janab Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has found our hearts worthy. We're not sitting here in this particular mahfil today because we had nothing better to do, but we are sitting here because Allah has chosen our hearts to be the praise and the function of the family of His most beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. महबूब की महफिल को महबूब सजाते हैं, आते हैं वही जिनको सरकार बुलाते हैं. To my most respected and honorable mothers and fathers, alhamdulillah, what an honor for myself to be here with you today, and the children and the youth. From the onset, I must make a confession that I have oceans of knowledge, particularly in the caliber of His Eminence, Hazrat Allama Maulana Sayyid Yusuf, who I grew up watching his videos, grew up watching his lectures, and there's an ocean of knowledge that is seated at the back, and not even a little droplet like myself is to address you today. But I ask you and I implore you to please make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide my tongue. Everybody say Ameen. My voice and my heart, and might my message penetrate and touch my heart if it reaches your heart. Everybody say Ameen. There's a very, very beautiful saying and an anecdote in English. Why should you swim in the river of knowledge? Why should you swim in the river of knowledge when you could drown in the ocean of love? So we have very beautiful kalams that will be recited. Many people have gone for Hajj and come back. And Allah Ta'ala give them a Hajj Maqbool and a Hajj Mabrur. Many people have the innate desire in their heart that, Ya Allah, when is it going to be my time? Some people will never go. That's the ordinance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some people probably will never see the holy lands. But what is the beauty of being in the mahfil of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? That you see they say in Urdu, कि उल्टे विचार चलते ही दीवान गाने इश्क आंखों को बंद करते ही दीदार के लिए. That the people of love, they work in opposite directions. While we open our eyes to see where is the gumbad of the Nabi, where is the gumbad of Imam Hussain, where is the gumbad of Mawla-e-Kairat Mawla Ali, where is the gumbad of Abdul Qadir Jilani. The beloveds of Allah sit where they are, they close their eyes and the gumbad of the Nabi comes to them. So this is why in Urdu we put it very, very beautifully that Muhammad Mustafa ka naam lekar jhoom leta hu. That wherever his praise is being taken, and I was sitting on the stage when Qari Sahib and many of the reciters were reciting, people were swaying involuntarily, hither, thither, helter-skelter. You did not know it, but you were swaying in his love. And it does not happen to everybody. If it happens to you, make shukr to Allah that Allah has found your heart worthy to put the love of His Nabi in your heart. Muhammad Mustafa ka naam lekar jhoom leta hu, tasawwur mein sunehri jaaliyon ko jhoom leta hu. And in my imagination, I can see myself kissing the jali of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Muhammad Mustafa ka naam lekar jhoom leta hu, tasawwur mein sunehri jaaliyon ko jhoom leta hu. Muhammad Mustafa ki नात पढ़ने का सिला देखो, मोहम्मद मुस्तफा की नात पढ़ने का सिला देखो. मैं घर बैठे, मैं महफिल बैठे मदीने की गली में घूम लेता हूँ या रसूलल्लाह. But as long as I listen to your praise, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wherever I can be seated in which program, I know that I'm going for a journey to the gullies of Madinatul Munawwarah. Alhamdulillah, I know I have a superlative audience. I come all the way from Durban to be with you, and I know inshallah that you are going to afford me the time frame that was afforded to myself. I'm not going to go and extend the time frame that was allotted to me. But by the same token, I just want to implore that everybody inshallah, if there's something of peace, sukoon, tranquility that is touching your heart, you owe it not to me, but to Allah to glorify Him by saying Subhanallah. So everybody in one loud voice, let us all together say Subhanallah. Alhamdulillah. Look, all I'm asking of you is to interact with me. I'm not asking you to come throw money for me. But if you want to, I can't stop you now, can I? But all I'm asking, inshallah, is to say Subhanallah. Secondly, my apologies for sitting and not standing is that I've just come out from the flu, been in bed for a couple of days. And of course, the platform of this method was raised to such a high level that even a tall person like me finds it difficult to stand and go over the bar. Lots of people ask me a question, Maulana Sahib, how is it, Hafiz Sahib, such a tall man like you married such a short girl in your life? And I said, I don't know, but I always wanted somebody to look up to me in life, that's why I married somebody short. And the third condition I put before I start, Alhamdulillah, is that you see, during my discourse, if there's anybody that starts to yawn, it's an indication for me, Hafiz Sahib, please close your talk, you're putting people up to sleep. If people start yawning, but there's an exception to the rule. If you're a married man, and if you are yawning, I'll excuse you, because it's probably the only time you're allowed to open your mouth. So Alhamdulillah, this is my style, just to put a smile on your face. Alhamdulillah. Why? Because Alhamdulillah, we are here for the memory of those who sacrificed their lives so that Islam was given to us on a silver platter. I want to start by saying something very eloquent, and I know it's eloquent for you as it is for me. Right from the battle of Badr, right to the battle of Karbala, Islam was always in the minority, but Islam was always victorious. Always victorious. speaks about this 22,000 today? Not even a footnote in the annals of history. But the 72 plus 1, this is why, what did they say in English? Quantity is what you can count. Quantity is what you can count. But quality is what you can count on. And there were 73, alhamdulillah, qualitative warriors of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I'm going to say something which I know, alhamdulillah, is going to strike a chord for everybody. शायर क्या खूब फरमाते हैं, he says कि जन्नत की आरज़ू में कहाँ जा रहे हैं लोग, जन्नत की आरज़ू में कहाँ जा रहे हैं लोग, जन्नत तो करबला में खरीदी हुसैन ने, जन्नत की आरज़ू में कहाँ जा रहे हैं लोग, जन्नत तो करबला में खरीदी हुसैन ने. Let me translate for some of the youth, हुजूर आपकी इजाज़त से. Where is everybody running after the desire of paradise? That paradise was purchased by one man on the plain of Karbala. जन्नत की आरज़ू में कहाँ जा रहे हैं लोग, जन्नत तो करबला में खरीदी हुसैन ने. दुनिया व आखिरत में जो रहना चैन से, दुनिया व आखिरत में जो रहना चैन से, जीना अली से सीखो मरना हुसैन से. If you want the best of this world and the tranquility of the life after, learn how to live from the Father, learn how to die from the Son. Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala, can you understand खुदा के दीन की कितनी अजब कहानी है, खुदा के दीन की कितनी अजब कहानी है कि दीन मुस्तफा पे आज तक जवानी है. How strange is this religion of Allah and His Rasul that after so many years, 1400 years, it's still an evergreen religion. खुदा के दीन की कितनी अजब कहानी है कि दीन मुस्तफा पे आज तक जवानी है. और मस्जिदों में अज़ान की सदाएं आती है, और मस्जिदों में अज़ान की सदाएं आती है, या अली ये तेरे ही बच्चों की मेहरबानी है. If it wasn't for the sacrifice of your children, Ya Ali, the azan will never have been resonating throughout the entire four corners of the world today. You know, Hazrat Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala, we only remember him. Think again. Mahatma Gandhi, Steve Biko, Malcolm X, Nelson Mandela, and the list goes on, spoke about Sayyidina Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala. I do not want to repeat, we've heard this many a times. But there was one Hindu poet in India by the name of Ashok Sahni, Hindu. You know what he writes? He says, Ya Hussain, tere gham mein zamana rota hai. Ya Hussain, tere gham mein zamana rota hai. Nikal ke din rota hai, chup ke raat hoti hai. Ya Hussain, tere gham mein zamana rota hai. Nikal ke din rota hai, chup ke raat hoti hai. Aur itni roi hai ki aankhein gham mein shabir mein aaj. और इतनी रोई है यहाँ के हम में शबीर में आज मैं तो हिंदू ही रहा आंखें हुसैनी हो गई. And I cried so much as to what happened to you and your family in Karbala. I'm a Hindu, but my eyes became 100% immersed in the love of Sayyidina Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala. Alhamdulillah. This is why I want to say something before I go to my subject matter. Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Al-Ahzab, 33rd surah of the Quran, ayat number 33. What does Allah say? Innama yuridullah liyudhiba ankum ar-rijsa ahlal bayt wa yutahhirakum tatheera. Everybody say subhanallah. Hazrat Ummi Salama radiyallahu ta'ala anha, she's the narrator of this hadith. Ulama are sitting here, and I have to be very, very careful of how I choose my words and my references. Why? Because they say when you are sitting in the company of ulama, you must watch the condition of your tongue. And when you're sitting in the company of awliya, you must watch the condition of your heart. So may Allah guide my tongue and my heart. Hazrat Ummi Salama radiyallahu ta'ala anha, what did she say? She says one day the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came and he called Bibi Fatima to Zahra radiyallahu ta'ala anha. And he says, Fatima, go and bring me Ali and bring the two boys to me. And when Bibi Fatima Zahra radiyallahu ta'ala anha came forth towards the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we've heard this narration many times. But to refresh our iman, we press the refresh button. What happened? The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked his beloved daughter to come forward, to come closer. He asked Mawla Ali radiyallahu ta'ala to come closer. He put the two grandchildren right, Imam Hussain on his left. He had the beautiful chadar which he threw over his head and over Fatima and over Maula Ali, and the two children were all covered. And from underneath the chadar he makes this dua, Ya Allah, as you have blessed Muhammad, then bless the family of Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Instantaneously, Allah reveals this ayat karima, Innama yuridullah liyudhiba ankum ar-rijsa ahlal bayt wa yutahhirakum tatheera. Allah only wishes to remove all abomination from you, O members of the household, and to give you a thorough purification and to make you pure and spotless as pure and spotless can be. And this is why, alhamdulillah, ask yourself the question mark. When the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam put the chadar over his head, ek tan, Bibi Fatima Zahra, 2 tan, Maula Ali, 3 tan, Imam Hassan, 4 tan, Imam Hussain, 5 tan. Behtar yahi to kainat, behtar yahi to maqsood kainat, khairun nisa Hussain wa Hassan, Mustafa Ali. Can you understand? The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam takes his 2 grandchildren in his arms. Tirmidhi Sharif narrates this hadith. What did he say? Man ahabbani wa ahabba hadain. Whoever loves me and loves my 2 grandchildren, wa abahuma, and loves their abba, my son-in-law Maula Ali, wa ummahuma, and loves their mother, my daughter Fatima Zahra, kana may fi darajati yawm al-qiyamah, will be with me on my level in yawm al-qiyamah. Just to love them. We did not even see how they look. But when the names are taken, I see people have tears in their eyes already. People have goosebumps on their arms. People have hair standing on the back of the neck. If you love them so much in this world that their names move you, Allah's Nabi is telling, love them for my sake. You will be with me and them on Yawm al-Qiyamah. What will be the condition of your heart on that day? This is why Shair says, Ke ummat ke liye apne nawason ko lutaya, ummat ke liye apne nawason ko lutaya, aisa to jahan mein kahi दाता नहीं देखा, कुछ भी नहीं देखा, जो मदीना नहीं देखा. सब पढ़िए. अल्लाह का घर खुद का नक्शा नहीं देखा, कुछ भी नहीं देखा, जो मदीना नहीं देखा. सब पढ़िए. कुछ भी नहीं देखा, जो मदीना नहीं देखा. The next and the final verse I'm going to read. I gave a lecture in a masjid called Sparks Road Masjid. You probably may know where it is in Overport. It was full to capacity. Maulana Muhammad Ibrahim is the Imam of Khatib. I was giving the lecture for Jum'ah. The verse that I'm going to read, I read it on that day. There was an uncle, elderly uncle, who was sitting and swaying. And I didn't know he was a doctor based at Shifa Hospital. His name was Dr. Kunuddin. When I read this verse, I saw him swing hither, helter-skelter, in the love of the Nabi. At the moment I stopped this verse, he collapsed from his chair and he passed away in the masjid at the time of Jummah. What was the verse I recited? Ke ae maut meri maut abhi aaj teher ja, ae maut meri maut abhi aaj teher ja, maine abhi sarkar नहीं देखा, मैं नक्शा नहीं देखा, सब पढ़िए, कुछ भी देखा जो मदीना नहीं देखा, कुछ भी नहीं देखा जो मदीना नहीं देखा। I want to go straight into the battle of Karbala because of the brevity and the gravity of time. But I just want to say one thing. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what did he say? Ahibbuni lihubbillah wa ahibbu ahli bayti lihubbi. Love me for the sake of the love that you have for Allah, and love my family for the sake of the love that you have for me. This is what the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what did he say? Qala li Aliyu wa Fatimata wal Hasana wal Husayna ana harbun liman harabahum wa silmun liman salahum. That those that love Ali, Fatima, Hassan and Hussein has only pleased me, and those who are at war with them is only at war and displeasure with myself. This is what the Nabi said. One incident before we go to the battle of Karbala. Bibi Fatima Zahra radiyallahu ta'ala anha. It's in Madinah al-Munawwara. It's a hot summer's day. Hot summer's day. She comes in a state of anxiety and panic. She comes to her father, Abbajan. The boys were playing outside. Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain, radiyallahu ta'ala. I don't know where they wandered off to. And I can't find them anywhere, in any gully. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam pacifies his daughter, Bibi Fatima Zahra, radiyallahu ta'ala anha. He says, "Oh Fatima, do not panic my daughter, for indeed the one who created them loves them more than you and I. I will go and find them." As he's going to find the two children, Allah sends Jibreel alayhi salatu wassalam. Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, not that the Nabi did not know where the children were, but Ya Rasulullah, let me escort you to where the two children, the two grandchildren are. Where did the Nabi find the two grandchildren? They wandered off. Hot summer's day, and particularly around this time, both of them, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain, Sayyid Shahadat of Imam Jannah, the leaders of the youth of paradise, they were playing, and because they were so exhausted, they fell off to sleep in each other's arms. You must know, children, no matter how naughty they can be, but when they sleep, they have that innocent face. And as grandparents and as parents, what you say? I shouldn't have scolded the child. I shouldn't have reprimanded him. And there's something else I'm going to tell everybody here. It's a phenomenon, and it's proven in science and in history that grandparents love their grandchildren even more than they love their own children. That's the reality. No Oprah Winfrey, no Dr. Phil, no Dr. Oz can understand why grandparents will allow their grandchildren to do what they never allow their own children to do. You know where you find this? In the love of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So, he sees his two grandchildren in each other's arms. But the best is yet to come. Because they were sleeping on the banks of a river, Allah sent a malaika from Jannah. You know when a child is sleeping, you want to go and put a blanket on them to make them feel comfortable? Allah sent a malaika from Jannah to put one wing underneath the body of the both children so they must sleep in comfort. And there's another wing that is shading them from the hot sun of Madinah al-Munawwara. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kisses both of his grandchildren, puts Imam Hassan on his right, Imam Hussain on his left, and he's walking with them. As he's going towards the house of Bibi Fatima Zahra radiyallahu ta'ala anha, you see Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala. Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, let me take one of the boys from you and like you alone. Ya Abu Bakr, I'm perfectly fine. Ya Rasulullah, let me help you. No, I'm fine. And on insistence of the Nabi, Abu Bakr steps back. Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Abu Bakr Siddiq, what an honor for the two children to be carried by the Master of Jannah themselves. What did the Nabi say? Ya Abu Bakr, it is not their honor, but it is my honor to carry the youth and the leaders of the youth of paradise. Now, this is exactly to show you what is the sanctity of this family in our limited capacity. I don't have the time to go to the events that led to the Battle of Karbala, but I ask you to show peace and tranquility, inshallah, and give me the few moments at hand for us to go into the journey of Karbala. I'm starting from the 7th of Muharram. I'm going to go to the very succinct points, inshallah al-Aziz. I'm going to try and round off, inshallah al-Aziz, terminating with the Shuhada of Imam Hussain radiallahu ta'ala. It was the 7th of Muharram. What is so important of the date of 7th of Muharram? And let me explain it to you. The army of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, they placed 7,000 soldiers along the river Euphrates. 5,000 on foot, 2,000 on horseback. Everybody with me? Can I continue? Everybody please say Subhanallah. So, what was the order from Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad under the command of Yazid? Anyone may drink water. Your horses, your camels, the birds, the grazing animals, but don't give one drop to Hussein and his family. You know, in Urdu, you know what he says? And I'm going to translate. He says, Hakim ka ye hukum tha ke pani bashar piye, gode piye, oont piye, ye ahle hunar piye, sab piye, charindo parind piye, mana na kijiyo, magar ek Fatima ke laal ko pani na dijiyo. The authority has ordained that any man may drink water. Any man may drink water. The horses, the camels, the intelligent man may drink water. The grazing animals and the birds, but do not give one drop to the lard of Fatima and his family. I'm picking up this glass. I want everybody to look at it. I have something very important to say. Of everything that took place in Karbala, the most biggest tragedy is the denying of the water to the family of the Nabi. You know, there's a history of water. And I want everybody to listen attentively. I want to give an anecdote. And you can say Subhanallah if you wish after that. What is this water? What is the history of this water? What is the history? Water, when in the air, it is humidity. When it rises, it is steam. When it falls, it is rain. Frozen in the clouds, it is hail. Frozen on the ground, it is snow. Dropping onto a leaf, it is dew. Dripping from a flower, it is nectar. Falling from the eye, it is a tear. Flowing in the earth, it is a river. Trickling at the feet of Ismail alayhi salam, it is called Zamzam. Springing from the hand of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, it is called Kawthar. And when it becomes denied, it is called Karbala. This is the history of this water. You know, when they close the water to say that Imam Hussain radiallahu ta'ala, you know what he did? He mounted his horse, and the horse's name was Zul Janan. He rides and he faces the 22,000 soldiers, and he says, O army of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, under the command of Yazid, Amr ibn Ishaq was there. He said, look at me, who I am. Stop groping in the darkness and stop staining your hands with my blood and my family's blood. He says, right now on the earth, there is no other grandson of the Nabi alive but Hussein ibn Ali. He says, I am the same Hussein that my nana called me and my brother. We are Sayyid Shababi Ahli Jannah. We are the leaders of the youth of paradise. He says, I am the same Hussein. When I was in my mother's arms, Bibi Fatima Zahra radiyallahu ta'ala anha in Madinatul Munawwara, and when I used to cry, my nana used to walk past and say, Fatima, don't make my Hussein cry, because when he cries, my heart becomes uneasy. Think when you are troubling me and my children in a far-off land. He says to them, don't you read in the Quran? And he narrates this ayah, he quotes this ayah from the Quran, Surah Al-Ahzab, 33rd Surah of the Quran, ayah number 57, one reference and check it out. What does he say? He says, don't you read in the Quran? Allah says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ لَعَنَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ وَأَعَدَّ لَهُمْ عَذَابًا مُهِينًا. Those who annoy Allah and His Rasul, Allah has cursed them in this dunya and akhirah. وَأَعَدَّ لَهُمْ عَذَابًا مُهِينًا. And Allah has prepared for them a humiliating punishment. You know what they said? Because their fate was sealed and Jahannam was their destiny. You know what they said? They were saying, we didn't come to listen to your lectures. We didn't come to listen to your stories. Either submit in the hand of Yazid or be prepared to fight and die. You know what Imam Hussain said? He says, now that I have given you my message, none of you must stand up on Yawm al-Qiyamah and say, Ya Allah, we did not know this was the Nawasa, this was the grandson of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Because I'm warning you. And he tells them, Allah says in the Quran, Surah Bani Israel, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in ayat number 15? وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. Nor do we punish until we send a messenger with a warning. So I'm warning you. And because they didn't want to listen to anything, what did they say? Either submit or be prepared to die. This is why, this is why Hazrat Khaja Karim Nawaz, you know what he said? Shah Asta Hussain, Badshah Asta Hussain, Di Asta Hussain, Di Pana Asta Hussain. He said Shah Asta Hussain, Badshah Asta Hussain. Hussain is the emperor, Hussain is the king. Di Asta Hussain, Di Pana Asta Hussain. Hussain is the deen, Hussain is the guardian of the deen. Saradad, Nada, Dasta Yazid, Haqqa, Kebina, Laila Asta Hussain. He was saying, not give his hand in the hand of Yazid, but rather he gave his head for the feet of his Nana Jan Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is the fountain of the kalima of the Tawheed La ilaha illallah. 8th day went, 9th day, Sayyidina Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala, he sends a messenger to the camp of Amr ibn Sa'd under the command of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, under the command of Yazid. We are asking for 1 day's respite, 9th of Muharram. That was given. 9th of Muharram, the 10th, after Salatul Maghrib on the eve, Sayyidina Imam Hussain, radiyallahu ta'ala, what happens? He calls all his family members and friends and relatives and he calls them on the Maidan of Karbala. Do I have everybody's attention? Can I continue? So, you know what he says to everyone? He says this jagara, this fight, is between myself and Yazid. I give all of you permission to go back to Madinah al-Munawwara. Take your families and go back. Nothing personal, because he wants my blood. And I will challenge him. You know what, those people that were standing there, this is why I said quantity is what you can count. Quality is what you can count on. All of them stood there and said, Ya Hussain, we are not of the 40,000 from the people of Kufa who called you and betrayed you. We are not that. Ya Hussain, if we go back to Madinah al-Munawwara on Yawm al-Qiyamah, with what face will we face your Nana Jan? When he asks us, was your life, your children, your property more important than my Hussain and his family? Ya Hussain, come what may, we'll sacrifice our lives. We'll sacrifice our children, our property, but we will stand tooth and nail and give our lives for you, Ya Hussain. Sayyidina Imam Hussain, radiyallahu ta'ala, what does he do? He hugs everyone chest to chest. And he says, now become fortresses of patience and perseverance. And he gave them such motivation that they were soaked in the desire to be martyred in the path of Allah and His Rasul. You know what he tells his family members and friends? He says, go make aram in the tents. For tomorrow, we have a very long day ahead of us. We leave it to the will of Allah. Everybody goes to make aram. What does Sayyidina Hussain do? He goes into his tent. He doesn't go to sleep. 3 days, no food, no water. He takes the Quran and he makes tilawat. While he is reciting the Quran, because no food, no water, his eyes begin to close. And when he falls off to sleep, What happens in his dream? He sees the master of Jannah in his dream. He sees his Nanaja, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his dream. The Nabi takes him in his arms. The Nabi holds him. And the Nabi puts his hand on his chest and transforms the chest into a treasure house of patience and perseverance. And what does he say? The Nabi Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Ya Hussein, do not for a moment think that I am unaware of what is happening to you and your family. I am watching everything that is happening to you and your family. Those that have caused affliction and grief to you will be deprived of my intercession on Yawm al-Qiyamah. He takes his hand, the Prophet ﷺ, he picks up his hand, and what dua does he make? Allahumma atil Husayna sabra wa ajra. Ya Allah, give my Hussein sabr and give him the highest reward. Ulama seated on stage. What is the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam? That he who sees me in his dream, it is as if he has seen me in reality. And he who sees me in his dream once, I give guarantee, he will see me one more time. Not in his dream, but with his eyes wide open. Before his ruh is taken out from his body, and that will be my climaxing point before I conclude. I want to say this. Can you understand? Sayyidina Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala, he wakes up at the time of Shahadat of Fajr. He narrates this dream. He narrates this dream, tells his people, and when he finishes narrates his dream, all hell breaks loose. Those people from the army of Lenasia, they start shooting arrows. They start taunting Imam Hussain, come out to fight. We want to fight 10th of Muharram on a Friday. Imam Hussain, his followers are asking, give us ijazat. With tears in his eyes, he sends one by one. One by one, they go to the battlefield. They kill many Yazidis. Many Yazidis. And after that, who goes? Hazrat Aqil bin Aqil, the brother of Imam Muslim bin Aqil. I'm going quickly because of time. But please pay attention to what I'm about to say. Imam Hassan's sons come. Imam Hussain sees his nephews. He starts to cry. And he says, oh my children, I didn't bring you on this land of Karbala to take arrows and bows and spears on your chest. Please go and escort the ladies to Madinah al-Munawwara. You know what the nephews, Imam Hassan's son say? Oh our Chacha, thirst has taken its toll on us. We also want to fall on the feet of our Dadi, Bibi Fatima Zahra, and tell her, oh our Dadi, oh our Ma, we also gave our lives for your Hussein and quench our thirst in Hawz al-Kawthar. Imam Hussain kisses them and sends them one by one. And you must remember, this is the family of Sharia Khuda. This is the family of Mona-e-Kainat. They didn't drink for 3 days. They didn't eat for 3 days. But nobody from the side of Yazid could take on them one-on-one. Nobody could take them one-on-one. They always shot arrows. Because why? These young children, soldiers of Islam, defeated anybody that came in the way. Imam Hussain started picking up bodies. And when he was picking up the bodies from the Maidan of Karbala, he picks his head up. He sees one nephew standing in front of him. Who was he? Imam Qasim, 19-year-old, the son of Sayyidina Imam Hassan. When he sees this nephew, he starts to cry. And he says, not you, Qasim. Not you. I can't allow you to go to the battle. Oh my Chacha, you allowed everybody else. Why? He says, I promised your father, my brother Hassan, that I'm going to marry you to my Sakina. Please, go and fulfill your father's wish. What did Imam Hassan do? He took out a locket and amulet. He opened it. And he says, oh my uncle, read this. What was written there? His father, Imam Hassan, wrote a wasiyah that, oh Qasim, a day will come when your Chacha will be surrounded by the enemies at Karbala. Do whatever you have to do, but don't forsake your uncle. Give your life. Give your life at your Chacha's feet, so I can also fall at my mother's feet, Bibi Fatima Zahra, and say, Ammijan, look, my Qasim gave his son for your Hussein. My Qasim sacrificed his life for your Hussein. When Imam Hussain reads this, he cries and he sends this young child, 19-year-old, into the battlefield. He goes, he fights valiantly. Alas, he was shot with arrows. the body of Imam Qasim. As he lays the body down, he picks up his head, he sees his sister Bibi Zainab in front of him. Bibi Zainab is telling Imam Hussain, my two sons Owen and Muhammad are also thirsty to give their life for you, Ya Hussain. Imam Hussain is telling his sister Zainab, don't put me in a more precarious position than I'm already in. I didn't bring these children around to take swords and spears and arrows in their body. You know what she says, Ya Hussain? I'm also the daughter of Sharif Khuda. Which mother can see their children thrusting for water? She says, please allow them to go to the battlefield so my name can also be written that I sacrificed my beloved children for you, Hussain. Imam Hussain takes the children and he leads them in the battlefield. 12 and 13-year-old children. Can you understand? Bibi Zainab couldn't bear to look at her children going to the battlefield. She hid her face in a scarf. And she says, may Allah and His Rasul be with you. Within seconds, they massacred these children. They took the children's bodies and put it on spears, held it up, and they threw it at the feet of Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain picks the bodies up, and he leaves it at the feet of Bibi Zainab. You know what she does as a mother? She's stroking the children's hair, and she says, if any children has made their mothers happy, it is my beloved children who have made Zainab happy today. At that time, Hazrat Rabab is in the tent. Sheikh Bamli is in the tent. Ali Asghar Masoom has got no water. Imam Hussain takes Bibi Zainab inside. Hazrat Rabab, who is the mother of Masoom Ali Asghar, she's telling Hussain, I've got no water in my body. Therefore, I can't even produce milk from my breast for this child. Look at him. His tongue is hanging out. He can't even cry. His voice is not even audible. Hazrat Abbas Alamdar, the flag bearer, stands up. Who is he? The brother of Imam Hussain, his mother was Baneen. Imam Mawla Ali married her after the passing of Bibi Fatima Zahra. He said it's a crying shame. Ya Hussain, when Abbas is here in this camp and Masoom Ali Asghar was go thirsty, he says, I will not bring water for this Masoom. What does he do? For those of you who went to Karbala, at the Mazar of Imam Abbas Alamdar, there's a big model of Mashkiza. I'm sure Maulana must have seen it in many. What happens? He puts that Mashkiza, the leather pouch, onto his shoulder, and he rides valiantly, gallantly into the river Euphrates, slaying many of the army of Amr ibn Sa'ad. What happens? He goes into the river, he fills up his mishkiza with the water from the river Euphrates. While he is there, Abbas Alamdar, he says to himself, you haven't drunk water for 3 days, take one sip of water yourself. He brings it to his mouth, and then his innate self starts speaking to him, oh Abbas, how can you even think about drinking water when you didn't pour water in the mouth of Masoom Ali Asghar? He throws the water back and he starts riding out. As he's riding out, 4,000 soldiers surround him. What happens? They start shooting arrows from the back. And he's helpless, blood oozing from his body. Where he was carrying the mishkiza, they chopped off his right arm. As the leather pouch was about to fall, he grabs it with his right arm, with his left arm rather. They chopped off the left arm, and the pouch was falling. He grabs it with his teeth. He's on his horse. You know what they do? They take the arrows and they shoot the leather pouch, and it falls on the ground, and he sees all the water is falling on the ground of Karbala. And he says, oh Ali Asghar, your Chacha is asking for maaf. I couldn't bring water to your lips, my child. What did they do? They came and they surrounded him. They put their filthy, stinking feet, I'm using filthy, stinking feet, on his Mubarak chest. They slayed him. They decapitated him. Imam Hussain sees his brother's condition, he starts to cry. He says, now my backbone is broken. He's carrying Abbas Alamdar radiallahu ta'ala. As can you imagine the state of Imam Hussain? He's leaving one of his family members, he's looking up, somebody else is standing in front of him. When he leaves the body of Abbas Alamdar, who is in front of him? His 18-year-old son, Hazrat Ali Akbar, who Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. You know what he tells? He says, Abbajan, please let me also go into the battlefield. I also want to quench my thirst in Hosel Kosar and fall at Dadi's feet, Bibi Fatima Zahra, and tell her that I also give my life for her Hussein. You know what Imam Hussein says? He says, Ya Ali Akbar, don't go. When we look at you, we quench our thirst. It is as if we are seeing the Prophet ﷺ in front of us. And he pleads with his father, and he says, let me go. And Imam Hussein sends him to the battlefield. You know, he mounts his horse. This is very interesting. He looks at the army of Amr ibn Asad, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. He looks at all of them. What were the words that came out from his mouth? He says, Ana Ali, Ibn al-Hussein, Ibn Ali, Nahnu Ahlul Bayt, Awladul Nabi. I am Ali, the son of Hussein, the son of Ali. We are Ahlul Bayt, most beloved by the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You know what happened when he said this? The entire army froze. Amr ibn Asad is asking, what is wrong with you people? Kill him, slay him, shoot your arrows. You know what the people of his army are saying? They say, yeah, Amr ibn Asad, we can't. So he's asking why. They say it is as if we are seeing the Prophet ﷺ in front of us. This is how this God looks. You know what Amr ibn Asad said? I promise the governorship of Mosul to the one who will kill this child. Tariq bin Shish, merciless warrior, was there. He thought his chance. Let me go and claim the governorship of Mosul. You know, Abu Bakr Siddiq said something very nice. The one who runs after the dunya will always run away from him. But the one who runs away from the dunya will always run behind him. So, he went into the battlefield. Tariq bin Shish, he went with his spear to attack this child. 18-year-old, he maneuvered and he slayed and he took the head out of Tariq bin Shish, flying in the air of the Maidan of Karbala. The son of Tariq bin Shish, who Umar bin Tariq so wanted to kill his father. He said, I'm going to kill this man for what he did to my father. He goes, Hazrat Ali Akbar slays him. The other son, Talha bin Tariq, goes. Hazrat Ali Akbar also slays him. Hazrat Ali Akbar kills 80 people with one sword on the Maidan of Karbala, hungry and thirsty for 3 days. 80. Goes back to his father. He says, oh my beloved father, thirst has slowed me down, or else I would have sent every one of the Yazidis to Jahannam. I put no water, I can't breathe. Imam Hussein takes out his tongue. He says, you want water, my child? Ji Abbajan. He says, put your tongue on my tongue. Ali Akbar places his tongue on the tongue of Imam Hussein and he gets refreshness and he goes back into the battlefield. He slays many, and when they realize that this is the grandson of the conqueror of the fort of Khaybar, Sher-e-Khuda, this is a lion of Allah himself, they started shooting arrows from everywhere and they shot arrows all around his body. And he falls from his horse and he says, Abbajan, please catch your son, I'm falling from this horse. He falls on the ground. They come and they decapitate him. They take out his head from his body. They ride away with the head of Ali Akbar. Imam Hussain carries the body of Ali Akbar radiallahu ta'ala. Everybody still with me? I'm climaxing. I'm going to conclude shortly. But please bear with me. He carries the body and he leaves at the feet of Bibi Zainab. At that time, Bibi Zainab holds his hand. Ya Hussein, the ladies in the tent, they can't take it. Please come. Sherbanu, who is there? She's the mother of Imam Zainul Abidin. She says, Ya Hussein, please, we can't take it. Please go out and tell these people, they don't know, maybe we've got a masoom here. Tell them to put water with their hands in his mouth. Imam Hussain, this is very emotional for everybody, inclusive of myself, no matter how many times we are it. Imam Hussain says, I know the caliber of these people, but just to please your hearts, I will take the child. Imam Hussain takes Masoom Ali Asghar. His tongue is hanging out. This child is dehydrated. He can't even cry because there's no water, there's no food in his body. He picks up the child. This is my Ali Asghar. He's got no water in his body ladies in the camp, they can't take it. Please, put water with your hand in his mouth. If you feed him water, he can't even take a sword and fight you. The baby's legs were kicking, theraping for water. At that time, Imam Hussain felt a jerk in his hand. You know what I'm talking about. He felt something warm. Bibi Sakina is telling her auntie, Bibi Zainab, I think they gave Ali Asghar water, his legs not kicking anymore. At that time, Imam Hussain sees that there's an arrow pierced in the neck of his Ali Asghar, Masum Ali Asghar, and the blood is flowing. He holds the baby, takes up the arrow, and he says, you have no honor even for the Masum children of the family of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He takes the baby and he places the baby next to Ali Akbar's body. And he says, Zainab, our Ali Asghar will be in agony no more. Because when they shot this arrow and I picked my head up, and when the arrow blood was oozing down, I saw my Ali Asghar in the arms of my mother Fatima Zahra. He was drinking from Hawz Kausar in Jannah. He was drinking water in Hawz Kausar. He will be no more in agony. Can you understand? Son upon son, nephew upon nephew. There's the last son. There's the last son. Who was he? Imam Zainul Abidin. Coming to the climax. He's burning up with fever. He says, Abbajan, everyone gave their lives for you. I also want to give my life for you. Burning up in fever. You know what his father told him? Not you, Ali Akbar. Not you. You will escort the ladies to Madinah al Munawwara. You will be the mahram. You will be their guide. If I let you go into the battlefield and you are massacred, from whom will my progeny grow? From whom will my lineage grow? You preserve this lineage of my Nanajan Muhammadur Rasulullah. I want everybody to listen carefully to his words. What did he do? He gave him Khilafat. He deferred upon him Imamat, Imam Zainul Abidin. And he told him, from you will the lineage continue. You know, I want to ask this question. What is so unique about this family of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? We have the family of the Nabi seated on stage. What is so unique about this family? If you are a Hussein, your son will carry your surname. If you are Ibrahim, your son will carry your surname. If you are a Rasul, your son will carry your surname. Your daughter will get married and she'll adopt the surname of her husband. And her children will take the surname of her husband and so forth. This is the only family in the universe that where the genealogy of this family is not from a man, but is from the woman Bibi Fatima Zahra radiyallahu ta'ala anha. Teri nasl paak mein hai, bachcha bachcha noor tha, tu hai aine noor tera sab gharana ka. And I want to show it to you. What were the words of Imam Hussain on the battlefield of Karbala? What were the words? From you will my lineage grow. Listen, see the genealogy. Bibi Fatima Zahra. Bibi Fatima Zahra, to her son, she is Khatun-e-Jannah. To her son, Imam Hussain, Sayyid Shuhada-e Karbala. To Imam Zainul Abidin, the only adult male survivor from the Ahl Bayt, the battlefield of Karbala. Imam Zainul Abidin, to Imam Muhammad Baqir. Imam Muhammad Baqir, to Imam Jafar Sadiq. Imam Jafar Sadiq, Imam Musa Kazim. Imam Musa Kazim, Abul Hasan Ali Rada. Abul Hasan Ali Rada, to Abu Alauddin Muhammad al-Jawad, to his son Kamaluddin Isa, to his son Abu Atta Abdullah, to his son Sayyidina Mahmud, to his son Sayyidina Muhammad, to his son Sayyidina Abu Jamaluddin, to his son Abdullah Suma'i, who is the Nana of Hospa, to his daughter Khair Fatima, to her son Hazrat Shaykh Sayyidina Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, Qaddasallahu Sirrahu al-Aziz. Can you see the lineage? Where it came from? Now you know when somebody says, Qadri Astana Salamat Rahe, Qadri Astana Salamat Rahe, Mustafa Ka Gharana I started late, please allow me that chance. I've come all the way from Durban to be with you. So inshallah, I'm not going to delay my flight, not delay you, but I'm asking Hazrat, inshallah. We would not do justice if we don't conclude with the king of Karbala himself. Sayyidina Imam Hussain. Sayyidina Imam Hussain, radiallahu ta'ala, it is his turn to go to the battlefield. It is his turn. What does he do? He takes the amama of his grandfather. He takes the jubba of his grandfather and he puts it on. He takes the cummerbund of his brother Imam Hassan, puts it on. He takes the sword of his father, Mawla Ali, called the Zulfikar, and he's about to go to the battlefield. He turns and gives one look of mercy to all the women of his family. And he addresses them and he says, remember one thing, you are the family of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He says, Zainab, please do not bring any tears to the eye of my Sakina. Please look after her the way I would have looked after her. He says to her, Zainab, remember after all, you are the daughter of Sher Khuda and you are the daughter of Fatima Zahra. At that particular time, what happened? Hazrat Rabab comes running and she puts her head on his shoulder and says, Ya Hussein, you are leading us to these tyrants. Who's going to look after us? He gives one answer. He says, Allah is Rasul will look after you. Bibi Sakina comes and grabs her Abba Jan's feet. Abba, don't leave us. Don't leave us, Abba Jan. So he consoles her and he says, Zainab, take Sakina away. She goes and she places Sakina in the tent. You know what Bibi Zainab does? She comes back. She says, oh my brother Hussein, since you saw everybody in the battle of Karbala, let me hold your feet when you mount your horse Zuljanan. He goes on to his horse and he mounts Zuljanan. With an eye of mercy, he looks at his family and he faces the 22,000 and he tells them, look at me for the last time. You have obliterated the family of the Prophet ﷺ. Look at me, who am I? I am the son of Murtaza, the elected. I am the son of Zahra, the flower of the garden of paradise. I am the grandson of Mustafa, the chosen one. Come and stay in your hands with my blood as well. Come and stay. And when he goes into the battlefield, what happens? It is narrated that they started to retract and retreat like a flock of sheep. A man who drink water for 3 days. A man who didn't have food for 3 days. People were running away from him. Nobody could face him one-on-one. It is narrated that the Zulfikar, which was in his father's hand in the battle of Badr, which uttered the words from unseen, La Fatah illa Ali, La Sayf illa Zulfikar, had the same precision in the battle of Karbala. Heads were flying everywhere. When they realized that they couldn't face him one-on-one, what do? Shot arrows from every side. From every side. And when he was weak, he was about to fall. What did I say in the beginning? What did the Nabi say? Whoever sees me in his dream will see me one more time. Not in his dream, but with his eyes wide open. I said I'm going to leave it for the last. What happened? Imam Hussain, radiallahu anhu, his lips were sliced. He does this. He does this as he's about to fall. You know, Maulana Shafi of Karki put it very beautifully. Hazrat, you know what he says? Zara socho, Maulana Shafi Karbala, an authority at Karbala. He says, "Zara socho, ek girte hue aadmi ne Islam ko utha diya." Ek girte hue aadmi ne Islam ko utha diya. He said, the one who was falling picked up Islam. Sayyidina Imam Hussain. As he was falling, what did he see? He sees his brother Imam Hassan, not in a tree, standing in front of him. He sees his father Mawla Kainat standing in front of him. He sees his mother Fatima Zahra, and he sees his grandfather. He hits the ground. The arsh of Allah shook out of grief. The apple of the eye of the Nabi was plucked out. Bibi Fatima Zahra's soul was disturbed. Mawla Kainat, Mawla Ali sighed. My Hussein. He was on the ground. He asked his brother, Hassan, what are you doing here? What is Ammi Jan doing here? What is Abba Jan? What is Nana Jan doing here? You know what his brother tells him? Ya Hussein, we have come to give you the royal welcome to Jannatul Firdaus. Whose blood is Nana Jan carrying? It is your royal blood, Ya Hussein. Nana Jan has been picking up the blood from the Maidan of Karbala. At that particular time, what happens? We know, we heard it. Shimr Ziljoshan comes, sits on the chest of Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain would looks at him and tell him, you are that bad nasib that my Nana spoke about. He said, I'm not going to ask for water. I didn't ask for my family. I'm not going to ask for myself, but I'm going to ask for one thing. Ya Shimr, you must take my neck out. You must take it out. But let me go in sujood and then take my neck out. Let me go into sajda. It's Friday. It was the time of Jumu'ah. Why? Because his sajda mattered to him. You know, there's something very beautiful. They say in English, money can buy you books, can't buy you brains. Money can buy your house, can't buy your home. Money can buy you friends, can't buy you friendship. Money can even buy you medicines, can't buy you health. Money can buy you a bed, can't buy you sleep. Money can even buy you a musalla, but can't buy you salah. But salah, which is absolutely free of charge, can buy you everything I just spoke about. Imam Hussain, the sajda was important to him. What did he say? Ya Allah, if you accept the sacrifice of Hussain and his family, then forgive the ummah of my Nana Jan, Muhammadur Rasulullah. His head was decapitated. They took out his head. And the aftermath of Karbala, maybe inshallah, if I come again, I took so much of time, I don't know if they're going to call me again. There's your Hussain, there's your Ali Akbar, there's your Ali Asghar, there's your Qasim. You love them so much, I don't even have a kafan to tie on the bodies and bury them. Bibi Zainab, there's many things to say, but I want to ask the mothers and sisters sitting at the back. And Maulana Sahib is here, Ulama are here. Many Islamic months come and go. Why is Muharram so dear to our mothers and sisters that from the 1st of Muharram, people start preparing to make malida. People start preparing to make sharbat. The apples, the almonds, the sugar. I always wanted, when I was a little child, my nani used to take me, better hold the apples for me. My nana used to tell me hold the sharbat. I can't forget them. When we say Yaade Shahide Karbala, you must remember the people who taught you the lesson of Karbala. My nani and my nana, wallahi azim, it is because of their sadaqah and their dua I'm sitting here today. They took me and made me listen to the stories of Karbala. Why is Karbala so important to us, but to the mothers and sisters? You know why? Because the story of Karbala was not narrated from the lips of a man, but from the lips of a woman, Bibi Zainab radiyallahu ta'ala anha. She narrated exactly what happened, and this is how it is 1400 years. I want to say shukran jazeelan to one and all of you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless one and all of you. May Allah bless our Hanif Bhai and the Yaade Shahide Karbala committee. I please ask for maaf. I was given an hour. I took my hour. I started at 1:45. I'm finishing at this particular time. Please make me maaf way over the time if I did go 5 minutes. But I'm sure 5 minutes in their memory is no time lost at all. But I want to say this, while I thank everybody, when I say Yusuf, who has been a pinnacle of strength, always encouraging us youngsters, I want to thank one special person in my life. Who is that? My beautiful mother, through whose sadaqah I'm sitting on the stage today. single-handedly with 3 other siblings. But she showed us exactly who is Imam Hussain. She showed us who is Mawla-e-Kainat, who is Abdul Qadir Jilani, who is Khaja Gharib Nawaz. So, man lam yashkuru nas, man lam yashkuru Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Nabi is telling us, he who cannot thank insan will never be able to thank Allah. Why mustn't I thank my Ammi Jahan for giving me not the wealth of the world, but giving me the wealth of Iman? This is the reason I'm sitting here on the stage today. May Allah bless her many folds. But I want to say this, as Bibi Zainab was also a mother, the last point I will conclude. The last point. Imam Hussain, his head is on a spear. They're marching him with his head. Please give me this last point attention and we'll conclude. Can you imagine, in front of the head there's a man reading Quran. There's a man who's reading Quran. What did the Nabi say? When you read Surah Kaf on a Friday, Allah gives you a light within yourself and your home from one Friday to the next Friday. So, what was the ayat al-Karima that this man was reading? He was reading, Anna ashab al-Kahfi war-Raqim kanu min ayatina ajaba. There was a Tabi'in, Minhaj bin Amr, in the crowd of thousands in Damascus where the head was being paraded. What is the translation of this ayat? The story of the companions of the cave and the inscriptions is an astonishing sign from amongst the signs of Allah. This Tabi'in, Minhaj bin Amr, a beloved of Allah, he says, I don't know what possessed me to pick my head up from the thousands of crowd. When I picked my head up, I saw the lips of Imam Hussain moving on top of the spear. Whatever his lips said, Allah made it audible to my ears. What was the lips saying? Ajaba min ashabil kahfi, qatli wa amli. What is the lips of Imam Hussain saying? That indeed the story of the companions and the inscriptions is an astonishing sign from amongst the signs of Allah. But my martyrdom is even more astonishing than that sign. Ask yourself, Allah says in the Quran that those who are martyred in the path of Allah, they are not dead, they are alive. But you perceive not, Imam Hussain is giving the proof of this. I want to ask you a question. If the grandson can hear the Quran and respond to it, why can't the grandfather in Medina Munawwara, when we say As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Rasulallah, why can't he hear our salam and respond to our salam? Tu zinda hai wallah, tu zinda hai wallah, mere chashme alam se chuk jaane wale ya Rasulallah. So we end by saying, and everybody, please, the head is on the spear. I'm sure you're going to recite with me and help my voice one last time. Hua ke se dil se wo sar juda, jahan ishq ho wahi Karbala, meri baat unhi ki baat hai, mere saamne wohi zaat.
जतन का बोला बहु
जतन का खुदा